Hello and welcome back to the Neymar News Network. It's not even a joke at this point. Neymar and Puma are back in the news cycle once again, but this time not for the Puma King, but what looks to be the next generation of the Puma Future. I know there's been a lot of Neymar content on the channel as of late, but he really is the man of the hour when it comes to new football boots, and given that I had like 300 DMs about this topic when I woke up this morning, I figured it was important to make a video discussing this because it is pretty interesting that just 2 weeks after announcing that he's going to be wearing the Puma King, he's already wearing something else. So what we're going to do in this video is a little bit of speculation on the boots Neymar is wearing and the fact that he's not actually the first player to wear these in a training session, and we're also going to talk a little bit about the marketing side of things and what this potentially means for the future of the Neymar Puma partnership that just started 2 weeks ago. If you guys do end up enjoying this video and want to see more boot spotting content on the channel, don't forget to support this one with a like. That lets me know that you want to see more. And if you are new here watching for the first time and don't want to miss out on weekly content on everything football boots, make sure you hit that subscribe button. What? So you're telling me we have exclusive information on what Neymar ate for breakfast this morning? Now, as of me recording this video, all we have to go off of is a PSG Instagram story for like a second and a half where you can see Neymar walking out of the team clubhouse for training where he's wearing these mostly blacked out Puma boots that are pretty clearly the next generation of the Puma Future. I can't confirm it 100%, but I'm sure some of you guys watching this have seen some of the leaked images that are out there. I can't talk about those images or show them for the sake of not getting in trouble by Puma, but we can pretty much confirm that this is the next generation of the Puma Future. What's also worth mentioning is that this is not the first time we've seen these boots in training, because just last week, Brandon Williams, who plays for Manchester United, was spotted in training with much better images where you can see he is wearing the exact same boots. The only difference is his don't have any laces. Does that mean there's going to be a laced and laceless variation of the next generation Puma Future? It's a possibility for sure, but it must be noted that Brandon Williams does currently wear the Puma Future, and he currently wears them without laces, so it is entirely possible that he was sent these prototype boots to try out in a training session and just pulled out the laces. Regardless, the boots are mostly blacked out with one area that seems to be highlighted in white, and that's not on accident. This is clearly something that Puma has done on purpose, knowing that people like me and people of the internet will notice these subtle details, and running through the middle is kind of what looks to be a different type of material, or at least an extra reinforcement to the material, where it's basically a band that runs directly across the midfoot, which is distinctly different from the current Puma Future 6.1, which, by the way, a lot of people have been asking me what the difference is between the Future 5.1 and the new Future 6.1, and the answer to that question is absolutely nothing other than the 6 instead of a 5. The net fit system, which has also been a signature of the Puma Future series, is also called into question here, because while we don't have great images of these boots, especially the ones Brandon Williams is wearing because he's pulled the laces out, it's really difficult to tell whether or not these even have a net fit system in the first place, which effectively gives you multiple different lace holes across both sides of the boots to create your own custom lacing system. Based on how these are designed and based on most of the upper looking to be pretty smooth, it doesn't look like a net fit system is going to be in place, or if there is one, it doesn't look like there's going to be a lot of adjustability to it, but nonetheless, we could see the end of the net fit system for the Puma Future series, which would be a bit of a shame because that's kind of the main feature that the Puma Future launched on in the first place. As for other details that we can make out, unsurprisingly, the entire upper appears to be made out of a knitted material with a polyurethane top layer, excluding the area across the top of the foot, as well as potentially that band through the midfoot. It doesn't look, because of the texturing that appears to be there, like there would be polyurethane on top of that, but we'll see what happens with that design. There is no external heel counter. The sole plate we can't really make out, but I'm going to assume that we're going to get either exactly the same thing that we have on the current Puma Future, because it hasn't changed at all up until this point, or potentially some kind of a subtle redesign, maybe something entirely different, but I kind of doubt that based on what we've seen from Puma over the last several years. And then moving to the rear, you'll notice that this does feature a lower collar than the current mid-cut variations of the Puma Future. I wouldn't call it a true low because it does seem to extend a little bit at the back and a little bit at the front, but in general, it seems to be lower cut versus what we've seen historically on the Puma Future basically since it first came out. Although they have of course made low cut variations, this doesn't appear to be that version though. As for Neymar wearing them and what this means for the future, no pun intended, we don't really know at this point, because while Neymar is already wearing something other than the Puma King, it is only a training session, and I'm sure Puma have asked him, given that they've paid him an astronomical amount of money, to try out their upcoming product and get some feedback from the guy. But it also wouldn't surprise me, as a lot of people have predicted in some of the past videos that I've made, that they'll use Neymar to promote basically any new product moving forward, which I don't think would be a bad idea at all. And even though this is just a training session and it doesn't really mean anything at all, to all the people that were theorizing that Neymar hated knitted and synthetic uppers of Mercurials and preferred to switch into the leather upper of the Puma King, just 2 weeks after making that decision, he's already wearing a knitted boot again. Believe what you want to believe, but endorsement deal money will change your preferences. Like I talked about in previous videos, if Neymar's influence alone was enough to get people excited about the Puma King Platinum, a boot that's been out for almost a year and a half that nobody has cared about up until 2 weeks ago, imagine the potential in terms of impact and hopefully sales that you would have if Neymar was wearing a more high-tech boot like the Puma Future, assuming that this new Future is going to have something new and interesting that people will get excited about. And this has really been my criticism of the Puma-Neymar relationship thus far. They chose to put him in the Puma King, which is pretty cool to see. He looks good in the boots, I'll say that much. And I think everyone can agree the story that Puma presented was also really cool, him following in the footsteps of all these great players that had previously worn the Puma King football boot. But this hasn't necessarily translated into sales, and there's a few different reasons for that. People have not decided to go back and buy Puma Kings in previous colorways that have been sitting on shelves for over a year. They're waiting for the new colorway that you might have noticed has not been available over the last 2 weeks, and that's because this whole situation happened very kind of out of nowhere all of a sudden, and Puma at the moment is really scrambling to have product to actually sell to the public. As of me making this video, 2 weeks after this deal was announced, the only Neymar Puma branded product that you can actually buy is a Neymar t-shirt. You have to realize that Puma signed Neymar basically on a week's notice, which is the reason why you can't actually buy his signature colorway of the Puma King Platinum, because 1 week is not enough time to put these boots into production and have them readily available to buy either from Puma directly or at any kind of store. We probably aren't gonna see a release of these Neymar boots probably for another 2 or 3 weeks at the soonest. It just takes time to have these boots actually made. Nonetheless, it is interesting to see, even before the release of his initial signature colorway or signature football boot, whatever you want to call the Puma King at this point, we're already seeing Neymar playing in an upcoming model from the Puma brand that may or may not come out in the next 3 to 6 months. And while maybe this plan seems a little bit confused at this point, I actually think this is a pretty good idea because it gets people like me, it gets the internet talking about this particular situation and talking about the Puma brand in general. It's just a shame that the 2 boots that they've had Neymar wear so far, you can't actually buy. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with this partnership moving forward, because while I think a Neymar signature within the Puma brand, like his own football boot, not just a colorway of the Puma King or the Puma Future or the Puma Ultra, I think that could do well. But at the same time, I think it would be really cool to see if they're trying to go with this kind of more experimental approach to take a guy like Neymar, who is one of the most marketable players in the world, and just have him jump to every new model that you put within the brand. We've never seen anybody do this before. It's always been one model to one player, and then they just wear updated colorways. But if we saw Neymar jumping from Puma Futures to Puma Kings to Puma Ultras to whatever else Puma has coming down the line, I think that as a marketing strategy not only causes a lot of interest around the boots that Neymar is always wearing, but it creates hype around the brand that you can constantly have kind of reinvigorated. Because what a lot of people also have to realize about this deal is there's a lot of hype right now because it just happened. But 6 months from now, 2 years from now, is there going to be that same hype around Neymar wearing a pair of Puma Kings? Probably not. But if Neymar is constantly wearing something different and new, I think that's a strategy that could actually work really well for them. As long as Neymar is on board for that, of course. And if he has some kind of profit sharing incentive in the contract that he signed, I'm sure he's gonna be on board. And then finally, just to answer the question, when will these new futures actually release to the public? We don't know for sure, and Puma is pretty random when it comes to their new boot releases. I know the Future 6.1, the new model, just came out a month ago, but we've seen Puma have life cycles for certain models as short as 3 months. So while I don't think this new Future is going to be releasing next week, it definitely could come out in a month's time. It could come out in early 2021, but I would guess, given Puma's reputation over the last 2 years, that they're gonna be out sooner rather than later. Anyways, guys, that's all I have for you today. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to support it with a like. If you have any questions regarding anything that I talked about in this video, or any opinions on Neymar potentially wearing the Puma Future instead of the Puma King, let me know what those questions are down below in the comment section, and I'll be happy to get an answer out to you. If you aren't subscribed to the channel already, make sure you hit that subscribe button along with the little bell notification so you get notified when the next new video goes live. You can find all my social media information linked down below in the description as well. And other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.